I had originally wanted to catch L561 retrieving a boxcar from Aetna Building Solutions on the Rockford East Belt. When I sat down this morning to check their whereabouts on the Freeport sub, I realized they were already in Rockford, and since it's about a 30-minute drive from Roscoe, I wasn't going to catch them as they crossed 11th Street. However, I did make it in time for their run down the belt to International Paper. Now, there were already a few other things in motion around the Rockford area. Union Pacific YBE 51 had already left Belvedere on their way to Rockford and Loves Park, and there was a G888 grain train headed east on the Freeport subdivision with a BNSF SD70 Ace leader. No one was on the rear at that moment as L561 paused briefly so they could return the East Belt switch to its normal position as G888 would be making its way through while they served IP. Now, I've mentioned before that a lot of things happen in Rockford around noon on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This one would be no different. After L561 took the turnout to go to IP, YBE 51 made their way west into Rockford. Around that same time, G888 was passing Freeport. This meant there was only a brief moment to step away from the tracks before having to return. The eastbound grainer had, in my opinion, a rather neat lash-up, with a BNSF SD70 Ace leading a Canadian National SD70I and a Canadian National C44-9WL. L561 was waiting just out of frame to the left in this scene, while G888 would be coming on the main to the right. Top of these two trains, a high railer was also sitting on the East Belt and would have to get out of L561's way before they could return to Freeport. Once 888 had cleared, the high railer made its way off the East Belt and reversed onto the Freeport sub main so L561 could leave. After this, I caught up with Union Pacific's Belvedere to Rockford and Loves Park turn, YBE 51, at Windsor Road in Loves Park. They had just completed their work at Simcoe Recycling. As usual, a pair of Union Pacific Yard GP15-1s were working the turn, numbers 700 and 705. This move requires 2 trips up the spur. On the first trip, they will pull any loads from the recycling yard. They will then leave them north of Riverside, crossing Riverside again, and then taking any empties back and leaving them at the yard. 700 will go south of the turnout at Riverside, and then run back across to grab 705 and the loads. The wind was a bit strong at times today, and that definitely impacted the shot looking north on 251. However, with their speed, it was nice to be able to catch them at Sinisippi Riverfront Park. As I hadn't previously done so, at this point I was planning on following YBE 51 on their return trip to Belvedere. However, a quick glance at ATCS revealed that Canadian National M337 was nearing Burlington to meet G888. At this point, I decided to catch Job 51 in Rockford Midtown and at 11th Street before departing for Irene to grab M337.